And now we wait and see if people turn up before I start work. And hopefully the microphone adjustment works tonight. Hopefully things will be better than last night's party. Clean up some more trash. Get a bin. So much trash. Oh, we got someone from Guam. Hello. Mr. Hook, welcome. Glad to see you could arrive. And Abraham, Mr. Abraham, Steve. Okay. What am I looking for? Trash, trash, and trash. Yeah. Container. That's what I was after. Got a whole lot more of these coming soon. I need to put this screw into a safe place, which means I will lose it later. Hey, Margarita Doctor, Swifrick, Southern Wonder from California. G'day Paul Howell, the one who tells me which way to turn parts when I'm not looking. Hey Sutterbridge. Alright, let's get to it. We don't have a 1466 up first, we've got a 1398, which is pretty close anyway. Just bigger, fatter, and more expensive, given that it's a retina and all. This one has come in, and the only thing I've got on here is fried parts near battery connector. So I wonder if they tried to use a metal implement to disconnect the battery and things went completely to hell after that. Alright, let's switch over and see how we go. I have rearranged things tonight. I sort of split out my USB ports a little bit more. I found I have a USB-C adapter, so I plug that in. I usually use it for the MacBooks, but since these ones do not have USB-C on them, I was able to momentarily, how could you say, commandeer the adapter for the computer. So I've got one camera going into that, I've got another camera going into USB 2 and another camera going into USB 3, so hopefully between all that we shouldn't have too many dramas. Alright, hey Suits, let's switch over to overhead, and we're a little off center, probably because I banged my head on it a few times, and we're a little dim. The picture, that is. I'll do. Hey Dan. Let's get this thing apart. So if they have fried the connector, they probably might have also destroyed the SMC. I guess we'll just have to have a look. I have been doing other jobs today, as in other repairs, but I didn't stream them. It was, yeah, thought I'd save my streamings for the same sort of time each night for now. Hey Wayne. Hey Travis. I was going to say something to you, Wayne, but I can't remember now. Oh well. I've got all the screws out. Hey Nelson, and Sarah, and Sabatino. Been a while since I've seen you, I think. Oh, we've got a baggie. And the baggie contains stuff for the battery connector. And I can see some corrosion already down here, just edge type corrosion. So let's empty our baggie into a container where things are safer. Throw the baggie in the bin. Okay, that's actually the, that's not the, that's the keyboard connector, that is. Yeah, I can see some vaporization, smoke signal. Let's have a look. Oh jeez. This could be over before it's even started. No, something took this out in a very major way. Very major way. That's basically delaminated everything. Holy shoot. Okay. This has shorted a large trace on the inside of the board. So much so that it has burned up through. This here is just blank. It's not copper. This is the copper area here, here, and here. So there's a trace that runs up here, going to there from the input. That's fire trucked. That's a, yeah. There's no point fixing this one. That's dead. The only thing you can really do is put another board in here, but you cannot fix this board. This board is cactus. Oh, that was quick. Super quick. It's funny, they disconnected the keyboard, but that was actually the battery they wanted to disconnect. Possibly. Oh well. It's got a Samsung drive in it, so it was on its way anyway. What is this? And it's a 256 gig Samsung. What board have we got here anyway? It's a 138. Sorry, my dear sir, but you are dead as a doornail. There is no coming back from that. If you're lucky, the screen might be intact, which was probably the most valuable thing on this computer. Well, it's like the powers of the A1366 have conspired to make me still present 1466s up on stream, so I guess we'll be doing that. We're going to put the screws back in. This is a... There's no point not having them in. Battery, that would be dead and drained anyway. That's a shame. I make a good donor board. I wouldn't use the SSD. Interestingly, the battery hasn't actually fluffed up. So I'd say its internal circuitry is protecting it. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. No, close it up. Walk away. As to what could cause that, I'm not too sure. We can see, let's see if we can get it here. You can see the blemishing along here. That's where the... So whatever happened, it's just along this section here. Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's going to be a battery related fault, or whether it was something, maybe they used a bad MagSafe on it or something like that and it just blew up. Hey LPL, how's it going? And Richard Pearson's here too. Wow, looks like everybody's here. What do you guys got, no lives? Sit around watching people do repairs? Or is it that everybody is suffering a little from Rossmann withdrawals? Though I do see that he's starting to now do some more boards, now that he's in his new supersized mansion workshop business place. No lives at all. Oh well. Quarantine. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, there'll be a lot of people doing the quarantine. We went out today and started buying a medium to small amount of extra food. To be fair, the part that we're most concerned about is making sure we have enough cat food. Because human food, if push come to shove, you know, the authorities will find a way to get you food as humans. But they will put animals down on the list, so you have to make sure that your animals are up on the list a little higher for yourself. Hey Vladimir, how's it going? I put the wrong screw in one of these holes. I'll put a short screw in a long hole. No, not you. It really isn't a significant matter, but I do wish to actually correct it before I send it back. Humans are the best cat food. Cat food, right? Maybe I should have kept that quail farm. Alright. Next machine. No turn on. Responds to SMC reset, but no reboot. Okay, so it sort of turns on, but doesn't quite turn on. Hey Mobius, you'll have to rewind a little bit, but basically something took out an internal trace in a very major way, such that it burned up a significant thickness of the circuit board. It's one of those jobs where you look at it and you sort of go, no, you're dead. It's a bit like if in a human the aorta decided to just split in half lengthways and all the blood came gushing out. You basically sort of go, yeah, we can't fix this one. Hey Carl Justin. We're going to a PAX gaming convention. I've never been to any of those sort of conventions. Comic Con or gaming or anything. Hey RDP. Sorry, Frank. Alright, this battery's cactus. That nice little ripple effect there. Let's see if we can get that to show up. Yeah. You can see how it looks like a typical road surface. But that's not specifically going to be our fault. We do have a broken antenna lead. Thank you very much. How do you manage to do that? How do you manage to ruin an antenna lead like that? Okay, battery goes in the trash. I guess the one way that you could end up ruining an antenna like that is if you're trying to get it off and you have a spasm, which, you know, sometimes you do have a spasm just as you're unhooking it. Hello bug, first bug of the night. Ah, click beetle. Okay. The worst thing is replacing the Wi-Fi on these is not a pleasant task, so the only real option is to actually try and repair it. That'll be fun. Okay, it's got a good SSD in it. What is this one? It's a 128. It's a good one. Meaning it's not going to die. Put our ID sticker on it. What are we after? 4234. What the hell? That just came out of it? Crazy stuff. You know, it'd be a good contactless logic probe that you could use to see what voltage is going on in the trace. Matthew, well, you might not be able to do the voltage. What you can do is you can actually have a contactless current probe. They do exist, and they can be very useful. But on circuits like this, the real problem is getting a probe tip that's actually fine enough to be able to differentiate between the different traces, because these traces are a bit close together for that sort of thing. You find your USB card. Wayne, which one are you talking about? I'm a bit lost on that one. USB card. Okay, I've got to make sure I save this connector. We will deal with that a little bit later. And Nassim. Yep. No pulley on the camera cable. Pulley on the camera cable is trouble. Still want to do it though. This board looks a little bit messed up. I can see water wash marks. I can see various levels of surface corrosion. It's not green corrosion, it's just darkening of the area. Almost like it's been swimming around in blood or red wine. Good thing I'm wearing the gloves, eh? Hey Christian. USB 3. Oh, right, wait. No, what I ended up doing, I sort of cheated. I had a USB-C multi-port adapter, which I usually use for the MacBooks. I didn't find the card, but I plugged that adapter into the one USB-C port that is on the back of this machine. And it seems to be doing alright. I guess we'll see. Time will tell. And I also cut about 10 centimeters off my microphone cable, just in case there was a kink. And I put a USB extension lead between the receiver for the headset, so I could like put it a little bit further away, just in case it was the automatic gain control that was wrong. So I've tried to cover everything. Maybe yes, everything's been done by myself at this point. If I was to get an employee or an assistant, it'd probably be for things like packaging, mailing, yeah, things like that, reassembly. The stuff that takes up a lot of time but isn't specifically... Wow, I got itches in my face then. Yeah, just stuff that takes a lot of time. Stuff that also, you still need to be careful about it. Like, you got to make sure that obviously the address that you're sending it to is the correct one and things like that. No one likes not receiving their MacBook after they've paid a couple $100 to get it repaired. Ooh, the sound of something stuck. Yes, something down here. Looks comparatively clean. Yeah, lots of familiar faces. Hey, Jack. Stanislav Lattenberg. I don't know if I've seen you around before. Sent you a 4-port USB PCI Express card and SATA to USB 3 adapter. Both should arrive. Rain, I'm gonna have to start investing in your own business to return the favor. Oh, this is a refurb board. Fun. Anyway, it's a 3437, so we have a chance. Let's have a looky-loo over it. JTAG looks okay. Well, that's it. I can't fix it. If that's not damaged, I can't fix it. I don't know how to do anything else. That's what I've learned from Rossman. This board does have a smell to it, and I don't like that. It's just dropping in my chair a bit. I'm not even sure how to describe the smell. It's... yeah. Unpleasant, but not too strong. Nothing really. Strange, I thought I heard noises. People coming to get me. Hey, Credo Kraut. Made 145,000 a year as a copper. Add my business earnings. I believe sharing 145. You're top line detective, were you? Because, I mean, I don't believe the police get paid that much, in spite of the risks that they take. It seems to be that way, isn't it? The people who take the greatest risks in their jobs seem to be paid quite poorly. Whereas those that just sit around and risk everyone else get paid exceptionally. Okay, there is definitely something going on out there. I think it's dogs or something. Alright. We found some corrosion. It looks like the board might be bulging a bit. That corrosion's that bad. Yeah, that's some nasty stuff. Okay, so this is step 1. Two taints by the SSD port look crispy. What are you looking at? Yeah, they do, but I think that's actually a wash. That's what I was talking about, how it's got a bit of a strange brown wash over it. But physically, they're probably quite fine. Clock circuit is down and out. No, I haven't had one of those in a while. Clock circuit was probably one of the first things that I had to fix on the 1466s without a microscope. So the very first time I had to fix this, I was doing it with my eyeballs only. You shut your heads up. Damn neighbours making noises. Okay, is that a veer in there? Okay, so that will be definitely killing it. This might have some sort of secondary effects, like maybe one of the peripherals. I don't know exactly what that chip controls yet. We'll have a look later. But this will certainly be stopping it dead. Ah, clock circuit one. Man, nice to get back to the good old days. That dead point isn't really a problem. Again, junk up here, but shouldn't really be a problem. Filthy white sticker of death. Maybe we may have cheated it this time though. Fingers crossed. I was in private enterprise for 35 years, the same job. If I was in private, right, okay. 48-hour weeks, 4 12-hour shifts, crikey. Tough line senior sergeant. I gotta admit, I don't really know the differences between the strata of officer, sergeant, detective, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like I may be actually insulting certain staff, police staff, when they pull me over and I talk to them. I hope not. You just get scared because, you know, you get the bad case of the false guilt. You've done nothing wrong, but for some reason you feel like you've done everything wrong. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to steal that candy when I was 3 years old from the other baby. Yeah. Okay, we gotta cut away this cancer so that it doesn't infect everything else. Just call him officer and you can't go wrong. Senior sergeant, then commission and officer inspector. Quito, probably people are enjoying the stream at the moment, so yeah, I don't worry too much about the likes, in all honesty. Tell you what I do worry about more is things like subscriptions and sharing. Sharing's a big thing. But in the end, you know, I'm doing this work regardless, so you know, I'll put it on live stream and or record it and people watch it. That's fantastic. And I'm not going to lie, I mean, I am hoping to get some decent subscriber numbers over the years. I'm not going to pretend that I started out this thinking I'll only get 100 subscribers. You know, I was going in it with a bit more optimism, especially when I see people who just smash random junk get millions of subscribers. So it's like, well, I got a chance. So we've got a couple of dead traces. Primarily, this one here is a dead, and it is needed. It's not just a what do you call it? Not just it is a test pad, but it's forming part of the trace as well. It isn't just a random endpoint. Is this one dead as well? Or is it just copper? That's okay. And of course our clock one there. And we've got to find out if that's a veer, which would be kind of weird if it is, but it might be. Need more clickbait. Apple trash talking. Yeah, you see, that's just it. I won't do the Apple trash talk. I know it's a popular thing, but I can't bring myself to do it. I just can't. Because I don't believe in it. As in, I don't believe Apple is particularly any worse. If anything, I think that the quality of their electronics in general tends to be a bit better, and their design in terms of the engineering of the cases and things like that. Yeah, they do have some definite stuff ups like the keyboards and the flexes and all that sort of stuff. I tend to blame that more on the marketing departments and the accounting. I think things like the 1466, the 1398, the 1502, I think that's when the engineers finally got their wins, and then marketing came along and ruined it with the next series. Okay, Credo. Garage repair multiplexer in a Honda CRV. Wow, Honda CRV. Wow, cool. Is that the hatchback one? We used to get them around here. That is definitely a veer on that. Okay, now I'm worried about where that goes. Should go topless for more subs. I think you mean less subs. Jack, unfortunately that is the trouble though, is if you are people would like to call it a fence sitter, I just call it being fair and moderate. But if you are like that, it doesn't really, no one wants to follow that banner. It's too boring. It's a bit like with cars or politics. You got to pick a team, and then you get all the people following that team following you. It's, sorry to say, just definitely not the way I do things. Yeah, Gregory W. That's the trio that I think that the 1278s were pretty good for their time. They were a little bit excessive on the cabling and things like that. But in fairness, they were good for a standard parts type machine, as in standard hard drive, standard memory. I do wish though that the 1466, 3098 and 1502 did not go with the proprietary solid state drive, but they may have decided to go with that purely originally, well, partially because the industry wasn't yet up to that. And also, of course, there was the advantage of they'd be able to lock in people and stop them doing their own upgrades. Well, guess we've diddle-daddled with this long enough. Let's find out where that veer goes to and see whether they have to do anything about it. Hey, Fluttermill. Oh wait, I'll see you back. It's a conflict between the engineers who want to make a good board and machine versus the marketing that wants to pack everything in it and turn it into a Homer car versus accounting, which wants everything to be cheap. Well, not so much cheap, but have the greatest net profit ratio. Okay, let's find out where this goes. Mark Bianco, thank you very much. Definitely coffee, kitty treats, and ice cream. That's what that will be allocated to. I haven't. I stopped drinking quite a while ago now, about 15. No, make that 18 years ago. Not to say I don't enjoy some wine. I really do enjoy wine, but it will go to ice cream, kitty treats, and things like that. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciated, always. Let's see. Okay, we're switching over now to... Okay. What is this one? No, this is cancel. Okay. What's my reference on this? 4234. 4234 doesn't boot, can't spell. Doesn't boot. Good. Credo, thank you very much. Not exactly what is CZK, but I'll find out. But thank you, really. Got to keep those kitties fed, so they'll take me out. All right. It looks like the view probably goes back. Well, I'm not really sure where that view goes to. Is it even a view, or is it just a stuck piece of copper? Maybe it's just stuck piece of copper. Czechoslovakian Koruna. Learn something every day, which is always good. And that was just a stuck piece of copper. Right. I was going to say that's pretty damn unusual to have a view on the one of the crystal lines. And I was right. I should have trusted my instincts. Let's get this fixed up. Oh, better put the heat pad on. Oh, and you guys can't see it. Of course. That is still the one weak point in my automatic switching system. And I see Wayne Taylor's can't be outdone. Oh, thank you. And Vladimir, the cats are going to get fat, you guys. I guess I'll have to take over and start converting it into ice cream. Speaking of which, my ice cream last night was very delightful. I always do enjoy that ice cream. Thank you. We'll just scratch this back a bit. The gentle touch. Now the wire I'm going to put on it is a little bit thick for the job, but it'll be okay. If I can find it. Where are you, wire? Seriously, we're going to play this game? I put the wire down in a safe place before I started the stream. Go figure. That's alright, we'll just get another strand of it, or another piece of it. Where's my box of wire? Oh, there it is. This is what happens when you just random wire box. I don't even bother finding the end of it, I just cut randomly. Gregory, I don't want to use enamel wire on this one because it's just not needed. I want that whole... It's just easier for me to do it as a pre-tinned wire the whole way around. Hey Pinball, how's it going? You had much luck? You've been using that flux? Did you manage to get a syringe for it? I've already got to make another order for flux, so I'm probably picking up 3 or 4 tubes this time. Hey Ratmole. Thanks Keith. Speaking of live streaming, back when I was first trying to court Lewis Rossman, he would release videos every couple of days or so, just upload them, and then everybody would race in to try and be the first to leave insightful comments and chat and stuff like that on the comments. And then one day he mentioned he was switching over to doing live streaming, and I gotta admit, at that point I was really not happy. I was like, what? I don't want to do live streaming, I want you to do these uploads, edited uploads, and then we can all do commenting in the comments. But then soon enough I found myself preferring live streams with the interaction. So it is funny how your initial perception can end up being different to your final sort of viewpoint. Certainly they both have their place. For general repairs like this, I find live streaming is really good. But I think if you have a specific technique or some sort of announcement, then pre-recorded's better. Wayne, I really can't remember. Hey Steve K. No, really can't remember. Live streaming, of course, is also very dangerous. You never quite know what's going to happen. Live streams is for the introverts. Interesting that you would say introverts. You would have thought extroverts, would you not? Are you talking about the audience or the creator? So that clock circuit's all fixed up now. Now we go back over to this one. While I don't have to know what it's for, I am kind of curious, so I'm going to have a look. The creator. So you consider that people who go on live streams as being introverts? Interesting. You would normally, I would have thought on first glances people would think that extroverts, people who are actually going to put themselves out there on live streams. Hey Stray. How did Lewis end up using your software? There's a bit of a story behind that. Let's see. What happened initially... I'll turn off this so that I can actually talk. What happened initially was I was just following Lewis's streams because I had a 1278 that I had to repair, and I'd already gotten most of the way through the repair, and someone said to me that I should watch Rossman's streams because he does this all the time, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, probably just another crazy tech person doing videos. So I did watch him, and I got hooked on him a fair bit because of the way he did the videos. It was very different to what I was normally used to on YouTube, and because he took time to make sure his audio was exceptionally good, that helped me a lot because I was actually able to hear him, which was very rare for me compared to a lot of the other people. Most people on YouTube with their audio sound like what I sound like now, so it's a bit of mumbly, it's not quite so clear cut, things like that, whereas Lewis's videos were exceptionally good, and hence I was able to understand him without putting a considerable degree of mental effort to try and decipher what he was saying. Anyway, after a couple of months, at that point he was using Landrex, and he put out a video of this new software, Boardview software called Open Boardview that Chlorodite had released. And at that point I thought, hey, this is great because I'm on Linux and it works on Linux. So I downloaded a copy, and that's when the programming itch took over, and I thought, yeah, I kind of would prefer it if the diagonal resistors actually showed up as diagonal rectangles rather than a all-encompassing box around the two opposing points. And so I dug into the source code and fixed that up, and I was like, hey, I'm happy with it now. I don't have to do anything more. Except I did do a lot more, and a lot more, and a lot more, and a lot more. And about 6 months later, the sort of first version that I was ready to put out was ready to go. And that's when I really started hounding Lewis and sort of saying, we've got an updated version of Open Boardview for you to try. And that's when I found that Lewis was near impossible as a user to get to update anything. And so the game was afoot, as it were. That's pretty much how it is. And Lewis noticed my avatar picture, which is Micro, the cat. And so I was just lucky, made the connection. From there it sort of just grew. And that was about it. You once mentioned you don't talk much when around people. Yes, I sort of generally don't. I tend to sit back and listen a bit. Steve K, appreciate your stream the other night of the Sony laptop. Informative on how annoying it was to pull apart. And yes, Travis is right. I used kitty power to capture Lewis. That's pretty much what it came down to. Crazy Logics. What's the strangest thing you have repaired? What's the oldest? Strangest. I don't really have any super strange ones, but I would say those positive air pressure mask things to help people sleep. That was sort of one of the weirdest things to work on. It was a bit strange for me anyway. And the oldest, I can't really think of anything that was the oldest, most because I actually have an aversion to old stuff. Something about the smell, particularly of the Bakelite casings and the old flux and stuff like that, just it makes me gag for some reason. I don't know why, it just does. I'm just reading through chat now. Yes, Landrex really did suck. It still does suck. I think the hard thing with Landrex was that almost none of the commands or control commands were things you could guess. There was no correlation with any other existing software that you would normally use that I could figure out. Does your hearing just sound muffled in general, or is it tinnitus type effect? What was your hearing always like that? From what I understand is I was born with normal hearing, but then it's a hereditary weakness. We usually pick up an ailment like the mumps, measles, something like that, and then that causes us to have a sudden loss of hearing. For me, I've lost most of my lower spectrum. I've got about 50% of my upper spectrum. My left ear is my best ear. My right ear basically sounds like it's got a permanent sock stuffed in it, or cotton bud, something like that. I do have tinnitus all the time. It's fairly invasive, but I'm fortunate that it doesn't send me insane. I know there's some people who have more severe hearing loss or more traumatic ways that they lost it, either through physical injury or a blast or something like that, and they seem to suffer the tinnitus far more severely than what I have. It may have been a case of because I grew up with it more, I'm used to it, but I just noticed that people who tend to have a traumatic loss of hearing somewhat later in their life seem to suffer the mind scrambling tinnitus more than I do. Ultrasonic cleaner's battle cry. For me, it actually sounds like cicadas. If you've been anywhere where there's cicadas in the summer and things like that, that's what it sounds like to me. Yep, cicadas. Don't you have medical certs for working on equipment like CPAP? Matthew, I asked that about that with the person. I said to him, I am not medically certified to work on this sort of thing, and he said, no, that's fine, which really isn't fine, because if something goes wrong, then you're up the creek. Sonia, did you put a dual boot on your iMac? I didn't. I just wiped it and put Ubuntu on it. I didn't dual boot. I don't like dual booting much. I would rather have 2 machines than dual boot. Have you visited North? I can't. I used to have hearing aids and I used to go to the various testings all the time, but I don't anymore. Are you sure it's not just the bugs in far North Queensland? Yeah, I wish it was just the far North Queensland bugs, but it's definitely not. Especially considering I grew up in Adelaide, or at least for the first part of my life. So no, it's not the North Queensland bugs. Okay. Yep, can't hear the crocodiles coming. That's right. RDP. Oh, you've got Meniere's. Okay, you've got my full sympathies there, because I have not suffered Meniere's, but a few years ago, when things were going really bad and the tension in my head was getting a little out of control, I thought I had an onset of Meniere's, but it ended up just being a excessive tension in the back of the neck, and it was going into my ears and causing me to have the same sort of effect where you basically just all of a sudden feel giddy as heck and feel like vomiting and you have to lie down and all that sort of stuff. It was more severe than standard vertigo, so but in the end it's gone away since. I'm very happy about that, so my full sympathies to you for that. That is not an easy thing to manage. Oh, right, Vladimir. Yeah, I mean, I have been to them in the past. I just don't bother anymore now. I've got no real reason to. At least not at this stage. Jim Hook, I'm on CPAP overnight. Keep the blood oxygen up. Yeah. Oh. Wayne, you find hearing impediments beneficial when you're married? Yo, you're going to be in the doghouse tonight, aren't you? Constant vertigo. Tinnitus in my left ear is very bad. Wearing a hearing aid now. I stopped wearing hearing aids probably when I was about 22, 23. I don't know if that was the best move, because I'm certainly not, I'm out of practice with them. Stray 77, I've got tinnitus. I have to have a fan or some white noise on, or it gets really loud. Yeah, oh, you got a test tone one. Oh, that sucks. Every now and then I will get, and I'm sure a lot of us do, I will get that sudden deathly silence just hit, and then about a second later you get that god-awful ringing going right through your head and you can't hear anything else. And I've been told that supposedly represents the death of another nerve in your ear. So that's not really the best news. It happens often enough. Fortunately, the internet has made life for hearing impaired people so much better. Yeah, it can be hard to sleep. As with Stray 77, I do find having things like the air conditioner on or whatever helps, not just from the cooling perspective, but the noise perspective, so it masks the tinnitus. Yep, didn't cut that very cleanly. And now I've got sort of metallic dregs around there. Anyway, that should be good. What shaman told you that? Well, I don't know. That's just what I've heard through the grapevine. It didn't say I believe it, but it sure feels like death of something in your head. Referring to one of the ear hair sensorial pickups. Either way, it's a hell of a nasty noise when it happens. Professional engineer, yeah, the test tone. Well, that's what I think he means by the test tone. I guess, Stray, is that what you were meaning? That out of the blue, very monotonic, clear, loud, deafening, high-pitched noise, as opposed to the general pinkish cicada noise that I've referred to as tinnitus. Alright, let's see if this thing even boots. I'm fixing it while everyone's talking about tinnitus. Let's see. Where's my 1466 test suite? Get out the chipmunk again, as always. I hope a few people picked up that bargain deal that Harold was offering last night. Okay. Okay, fan spin. Looking good. One more time, come on. Nice thing is also, for people watching, this is a good indicator of whether it's just a fan spin or whether it's actually alive. Like the green flashing, that means we're alive. So there we go, we're good. This one's fixed. So that one will take a swim in the ultrasonic bath and be good to go. Beautiful. It wasn't too complicated a one either. I prefer not to put the green covering on until I've actually ultrasonicked them. It's just a trend that I'm preferring with nowadays. Otherwise I find that the ultrasonic sort of messes up the green goo a bit. It sort of puts a bit of a haze over it and sometimes cuts in under it and lifts it off from the board fractionally. So yeah, now I am going to make it so I'll put that through the ultrasonic like that, and hopefully it will survive, and if it doesn't, well then it wasn't done properly and I'll have to do it again. Okay, so that's one more off the list. I might actually have my queue finished by Monday. Stick this one back up. Oh. Okay. Let's see. What's our time at the moment? What have we got for time? 10:30. We've got time for one more. Let's see if I can find a 1466. I don't know if I've got any more left. I think I've only got 1502s and things like that. Let's see. 1466. Oh yeah, I think you are. Maybe. Oh yeah, wait. I got a 1466. I'm just gonna see what this one is. Keyboard cleaned with Windex. Oh shit. No backlight. No change with another LCD installed. Oh man. Windex keyboard. Why? I guess I wanted it clean. I suppose that's a fair, reasonable thing to do. Might just need a new keyboard deck though. What was the other fault? Still no backlight. Okay. So I guess we're going to be wondering is, did the Windex kill the backlight? Assuming it was Windex and not, say, maybe someone's soap detergent and water mix or metho mix. Guess we'll find out when we open it up. Noises and crap going on outside still. It gets me all pent up and concerned because I can't hear properly. I can't ascertain as to what the nature of the problem is out there. Whether someone's being maimed or being put through a wood chipper or something like that. You're an old one. Okay. This is probably a dead PCH, a dead CPU or something like that. Yeah. Okay, battery's disconnected. These ones love to die. It's a bit of a shame. They taint the 1466 name a bit. Okay. Looks like we're booting. We're booting. We've got no backlight, eh? Yep, definitely no backlight. I can see the Apple logo. Well, maybe it is just a backlight fault. Could we be that lucky? A clock circuit and a backlight fault in one night. It's Christmas. Yeah, Jack, this block is only half acre, but we are on the outskirts of town. So we have houses on one side and then it's just open field up until the hill about a kilometre away before the next property. So it's not a bad compromise. So we're in close, but yeah, the battery is pretty cactus on that too. Nice thing is I get good internet while I'm here, and it's through the landline. It could be better. It is only fibre to the premises. Not fibre to the premises, what am I talking about? I'm wishing there. It's fibre to the node, but I do get a pretty good 140, so I can't complain. It's good enough for me to stream. I could run 3 or 4 streams, no trouble. Scratch the nose. Okay, what is this? 4236. Blown backlight fuse, wouldn't that be something? I suppose I should inspect it actually. Let's have a looky-loo. Right, anyone want to put money on whether it's a fuse or not? Hey Pernov. Ah, and Stuart Menzies is here, g'day. Yeah, Joseph, fibre to the premise would be absolutely lovely if it was here. We've got a dead cap down there, so that's not... Fuse. It's blown. The fuse is blown. Hey Stockholms. Too late, someone just lost $10. Fuse is blown. That cap's looking nasty. The question is, why did the fuse blow? What's this? 3209 board? Just double check my... Too much current. Well, there's a genuinely true statement but useless statement. Thank you very much, Stray. 3209. Okay, so backlight is actually pins 3 and 4. Oh yeah, should have seen that just looking at it. And I'm going to test the resistance to ground on those. Okay, so it's shorted there. Let's take the cable out and see if we get the same thing. We don't. So the screen is fire trucked. The board isn't the problem, it's the screen. Something's happened in it. Short circuited somewhere in there. So there's probably not a lot really I can do with this. I can replace that fuse, but it will blow again as soon as I reconnect this. So probably not really worth doing anything with it. There's an L here. Why isn't a lethal one? Yeah. Really not sure what I'm going to do. Like I said, replace that fuse. That should actually fix the main board in this case. But then I have to get them to change the screen. And I don't know whether it's going to be the screen or the cable to the screen. Ah, Jack, no worries. So I think what we'll do is we'll put this under the consult status. So I'll send him a message, say, look, this is what's wrong, and before we go any further, make a decision. It'll probably end up cheapest just buy a replacement screen, which is only $400. Yeah. Let's just take the bezel off. I don't know if no, I'm not taking the front bezel off these ones. Are these 1466 screens for the 2012 the same as the 2013 to 15? Because if they are, then I hate them. Mentioned Widdex probably on the screen, leaked into the board. Yeah, probably. Alright, so that's another one down. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I know, it's shocking horrible that I've actually got jobs. We have a 1502, good old Retina. Battery or board problems. Generic. Alright, let's give it a squeeze. Do you ever use a circuit breaker to test rather than having to keep replacing it? No, I just use fuses, to be honest. This stuff is too small for a circuit breaker to be functionally useful. I mean, it takes 10 seconds to replace the fuse. Certainly with your stuff, like the pinball machines, absolutely do the circuit breakers, absolutely. But for this, oh crikey. Calm down, Paul. But for this, no, I'll just replace the fuse. But the thing is, we can test anyway before we start to see whether we've got a short, which is exactly what I did on that cable. So if you do your testing at least reasonably well, you shouldn't end up blowing too many fuses. A bunch of liquid's gotten in here. What is this, a 2013 or a 2012? I think it's 2013. Wow, the screen is almost immaculate except for this dreg of trash here. In fact, that just looks like a protector that they put on. Let's see what it does. Was it battery or board problems? It doesn't actually give you symptoms, it just says what they think it might be. Thanks, Jack. Greatly appreciate that. More ice cream. We're going to get fat at this rate. Alright, we've got a bong. It's probably not something I should be saying on live stream too much. I got a bong! Whoa. What the hell? Okay, oh. Yeah, that doesn't help. What the heck's happened here? Is it kind of... Is this a sort of like a polarized filter or something? Yeah, but what's actually happened? Like, it's been gouged out? Is there a polarizer on this so that you have to wear special glasses or something? I don't know. It's not cracked. It's gouged. So look, check it out. Oh man, it's seriously gouged. Wow, someone really slipped with the something there. Took a nice piece out of it, a couple of layers. The board seems to boot. Let me see if it comes up on DisplayPort. So plug this in. Oops. So no signal, probably because I have to. Yeah, but that's really quite something. Well, glad it's not me that's going to pay for it. And I'm glad I got that on. Glad I got that on video. Yeah, it's booting fine. I've got an Apple logo and everything coming up on the test screen. Thank you, Jim, for the test screen. I'm using it as my third screen on this assembly, but you know, with the remote control, I just plug in the display port and I can have a look. Makes it quite convenient. But again, this is probably going to be a consultation one. Although it gave me an Apple logo on the start, it actually hasn't come up anything further since. So we'll give it another minute or two. But yeah, that's well and truly wrecked. Alright, while I'm waiting for that, I'll go check my next victim. Yeah, nothing's coming up on screen. It's just grey screen, nothing else. Okay, Pinball, thank you very much for dropping in. So maybe there is still something wrong with this board. It's actually going to be a bit of a pain to diagnose it with a dead screen like that. Gregory W. Such an easy fix. What is? Just remove the black clutch cover. Gregory, you thinking of the 1502 1398 screens though? Because with the 1466 screens, it's not that easy. because you've got to take the front bezel off. The 1502s, yeah, sure, you can just slide the clutch off and then you got the cable, but not the 1466s. Unless the 2012s have it. So if you tell me the 2012 does, then I will have a look. Yeah. Oh, this particular one. I thought you were talking about the 1466 that we had the shorted backlight on. This one, yes, I know this one's very easy. But that said, this isn't booting properly either. Yeah, sorry, Gregory. I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the 1466 being easy to grab the cable off, and I was like, no, it's not. I mean, you can get to the area, but yeah, I'm sick of pulling those front bezels off. Nasty little things. It is, like I said, it boots up with an Apple logo and then it just doesn't go anywhere after that. That's this one here. So 4237. I can't use the Nels Testes LCD because this is not a 2015. Give it a prime reset. It's probably booting into recovery. You tell me that after I've gone. Oh, that actually doesn't matter, come to think of it. Alright. Frame reset. I've actually done about 3 or 4 of those today. Just not thinking to do it with this. Such a pain doing frame reset on this. Okay. Command Option P. This is really awkward. Wait for the second one. Come on, man. There we go. Oh, now I'm getting nothing. Of course, SCD's removed. God damn it. Oh, guess what? We've got a blinking folder. Fancy that. Shut up. This is why letting interns backseat drive is always a bad idea. Okay, let's try that again. Anel killed it, yep. Yeah, so we've got our Alpha logo again. You're just going to have to believe what I'm telling you, because I haven't got a little mirror to show. We've got the spinning loading icon. Still got an Apple logo, and Anel was actually right. It was going into recovery, And we have booted. Alrighty. Well done, Anel. I need an Anel, a Peonov. Yeah, Anel and Peonov I need cloned. That should get me out of 90% of my troubles. Alright, let's get this screen detached, check its cables, see what's going on. Phew, that's a tight one. There's a very tight camera connector. Extremely tight camera connector. Make sure not to yank on it too much. I'm gonna break it. Aha. Yeah, the SMC, I mean the frame reset. I always forget to do that when I'm most needing to do that. It's a bit like BIOS swapping. Far too often I forget to check to see whether, you know, to put a test BIOS in to see if something will work or not. I see Stuart's been the teenager today. Okay, get these little side restraints off. And hopefully I don't botch this up as I squeeze out the clutch cover. There we go. Sometimes these little buggers come out easy, sometimes they're not. Hey Microfix. Hey Randy Bates. Oh, Paul is speaking in third person about himself, yeah. Come on now, don't be difficult. Oh, for goodness sake, seriously, come on. Just yank it off. The glue was a little bit tough. Okay, we've got our T8s to get out and then all these little M1x2s. And for that, I need my glasses on. Hey, Winfield. Lethal one cuts the tape. So naughty. Surprised you don't get fired for that. By the way, did anyone get fired for the fire extinguisher? Or was someone just severely reprimanded and thrown into the dungeon? I'm trying to get there, Winfield. The more of these I can get fixed, the better. No one got fired. Wow. Disappointing. How very disappointing. Clearly not enough drama at Rossman Repair. Sounds like I'm going to have to defect to STS Telecom with Jason. Everyone is still hired. Ha! After the news story is settled, he will start firing. Quite probably, yes. For now, he just has to have all hands on deck. We've got one pin looking a bit dodgy there, but nothing major. We know the backlight runs, because we could see it through that gaping bit of gape on the screen itself. Okay, so get myself a replacement. And where is my replacement? Okay, this is one of my own screens. This is not the Enel screen. I gotta say, Enel and everyone else, has anyone tried using one of the 1466 extension leads on the 1502s and the 1398s? Just thought I would check. I haven't, because I don't have one that I can sacrifice. But if it's a one-to-one pin configuration, I can't see why it technically shouldn't work. Oh man, I'm gonna get myself into strife doing this. Someone needs a bigger desk. Come on, come on. There we go. Okay, well, Gregory's dishing out the answers tonight. Cool. Yeah, we got. Well, there we go. I can't show you that, but Yeah, that's functioning. Looks like Mr. Taylor, Gregory W. is on a win tonight. It seems to be his night for live streams. So you can see indeed that down here we do have an active screen. Well done. Well done indeed. That's quite a win. It's a seriously butchered screen though. Can't believe it. It's interesting that you can take a gouge out of it like that and it keeps on going. You put a chip in it somewhere and it dies like a soccer player. At the World Cup. Oh my god, my leg fell off. Now that's some serious drama. Right, I've got to put our glasses back on. It's just a flesh wound, yeah. Come here, I'll bleed on you. Yeah. Good old, completely strange, bizarre, funnier after the movie Monty Python. Yeah, I agree, Gregor. Oh, hello, we got a bug. Yep. There's a million of them out there. I guess it had to happen. That's honestly, Gregory, why I thought this is a dead screen, because I saw that and I thought, yeah, they don't live very well. These are delicate little creatures, and yeah, looks like this one wants to live. Oh yeah, Christian, every single damn time I watch it, I get caught up and I forget that the ending's about to hit. Gets me every damn time. I mean, I haven't watched it that many times, but every time I've watched it, it does catch me out, which is a good thing. Chicken flavored ice cream. Oh god. That's something interesting. It's almost as bad as gherkin flavored ice cream. Wait, I've grabbed the wrong damn screws. Knew they didn't fit in there quite right. Is Gregory off to bed? Gregory, thank you very much for your contribution. That's really appreciated. You saved me a hell of a lot of time. So, for that, in fact, I think Gregory deserves a completely nice, cheap contribution of being a mod. Have you thought of one of those UV bug catchers in the corner of workshop? I believe we'll be testing that feature next week. It seems that way, Peter. It may have just been a cable fault. I will put it through some extensive testing. I have been caught out as in the past. Yeah, Lethal, who would want to be a mod? Being a mod is actually completely overrated, as any mod who's been at it for a while will tell you. There is absolutely nothing really to gain in being a mod. No, Paul, you can't do it that way. You have to reattach it properly. It's like your leg, mate. You just can't Fake it. Oh, come on, surely I can. Yep, welcome to the personal discussion debate. Hey, Catherine. Ow. Creatures biting, gnashing, gnawing at my flesh. Aha, finally. Spent ages trying to get these clutch covers back on. Some useless mod on Lewis' channel banned me for life after about 10 of us disagreed with whatever. Seriously, Wayne? You got... but what? I think actually, didn't you mention that to me at one point and I did absolutely nothing for you? I mean, that sounds about right for me. Microscope, crotch cam. Okay, it's not running in the back rail yet, but hopefully I can first just jam this in to the little divot. Oh, flippin' typical. I gotta admit, I do get a little paranoid working on these retina screens because of the price tag. And something went snap. I suppose real professionals don't bother putting those end caps on. I need to bag this up as a dud part for this job because, pardon me, otherwise what's going to happen is I'm going to pick that up, think that it's an okay part when it's definitely not 4237. I'd like to bag it up and send it back to them. And then they can let it float around in their system and then get accidentally used. I'm sorry, that was actually A little bit of a devilish laugh. Whoops. I'm a sweet person, really I am. It's holding you back. Oh shit. Yeah, Wayne, the postie dude does sort of wonder why there's so many packages coming in. Fortunately, he doesn't say anything much other than good morning. As long as he delivers the packages, all is good. Can you say crikey, mate? It's very hard to say that sort of thing on demand, because it's got to be legit. And it's like, crikey, mate. So you can't just ask for such things. Struth. Yeah, what's going on here? Shit. Right, it's twice now I've said a naughty word, so... Well, there goes the monetization for the night. Not my fault that the screen decided that it was giving me a bit of lip there. Yeah, like that. Do not like those noises. What was that? What the hell was that? Piece of plastic. That's one of those. It was the rear clip. Bugger. Well, my bad. Fortunately, these metal bits and pieces will actually hold it on pretty good. I think what's happened is that the screen shifted slightly to the left. There we go. That's all it needed. Don't. Sorry. Okay, that's locked in now. Shouldn't be going anywhere this time. I kept wanting to drift as I tightened up the T8s for the hinge. Paul Sheila thinks she's the top bloke. The original hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. We've got one here at the local noodle stall too. And it cracks me up every time I'm in there ordering. Oh, you're saying that you actually found the original that Lewis was looking for. Who found it? So is Erica going to become a part of the store? Is in the sense of she's going to become an actual staff member? And she can look after the kitty cafe. Couple of stubbies short of a six-pack. Okay, let's see if this opens up without going crack, which it has. It's all good. Funny thing is, I'm going to have to work out what I'm going to charge for this job now. Very rarely do I get a job like this where it's, you know, cable change. Most of the time it's a throw it in the rubbish job. Dog's breakfast was another one that had the Yanks confused. Oh, don't forget seppos or septics. That one's a bit of a long-winded one. To be fair, that is a bit more of a war base. Yeah, this plastic is actually very brittle and breaking apart. It's already lost one half of the retainer. It's still stuck in there, funnily enough. And for people outside of Australia, you have to realise prior to perhaps the early 80s, Australian TV was predominantly British, which makes sense since we are, at least at this point, mostly a British colony. And then the Americanization sort of really started to take place from the 80s. As far as I understand, it was actually part of the war, the post-war agreement with the United States, that we would introduce more of the United States programming into our media. So we have a little bit of an identity crisis, because a lot of people would probably align themselves more with American values than they do British, and yet we are still at this point somewhat of a British colony. Formerly some other land, Terra Nullis, whatever the and of course at some point Australia had nobody here. And there was just lots of animals roaming around, big animals, giant possums that would chomp your head off and stuff like that. And then people got brave and started coming down from the equatorial Asia countries. That was a long time ago. And then humans arrived in Australia. Where's my brush? Flippin' brush, mate. Can't believe I lost it again already, eh? Struth. There it is. Maybe Australia should be considered the world's animal country, where the animals are actually the main residents, which is probably why they kill us any chance they get around here. They're all deadly. Okay, battery down. We still don't know if this actually works under normal circumstances, but I'm guessing it should do now. Let me take that sticker off. Actually, speaking of spiders, there's a great big huntsman that is just hanging out the ceiling at the moment when I go to sleep. So as I lie in bed, look up at the ceiling, there's this huntsman, probably not as big as my hand, but yeah, he's probably 3/4 of my hand span. He's just doing his thing, plotting how to kill me. Could explain why I cough so much in the morning. Maybe he's been crawling down my throat while I sleep. So as you can see, screen's up. Oh, the goodies were great, yeah. Becky Thump, the giant kitten, Graham running away with his computer. All these things I can relate to. Goody goody yum yum. Dun, 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 dun. Yep. And then of course we had Monkey Magic. Kitten was called Twinkle, that's right, yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. Let's jump into guest mode. The Sooty Show, remember that? Yep. And then what else did we have? Basil Brush. And for those that were a little more mature, you had Yes Prime Minister. So many different shows. Alright, so this machine's up and running. I'm just going to see if the battery functions. We've got a 0% showing on it. Replace soon. Mr. Squiggle? Mr. Squiggle is an abomination. No. Mr. Squiggle was a creature of nightmares, and so was the blackboard. Tripitaka. Oh yeah, Tripitaka got us all. Yeah, Monkey Magic, yeah. It's a guy, it's a girl, it's a guy. No, that was too confusing. I just want to see if this battery charges up. Let's see, Wi-Fi is working. What's this? Blue Reaper Gaming. No help around here. I have a ThinkPad laptop that did not... Nope, no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Okay. Wayne, what are you doing trying to kill those huntsman spiders? You bastard. I've had one in my shed for a long time. It was a good friend. Although it did run across my hand a little too many times and scared the living daylights out of me. That's the other thing, yeah, we've got a very strong Asian culture here in Australia too. I mean, there's Chinese food stores everywhere and we're just used to it. At the TV as well. Okay, you charging? You're doing 2.2 amps. You got to be charging. Pigsy was a womanizer. Pigsy, and so was Sandy. They all were. These days they would be beaten in the courtroom to a bloody pulp. Oh, I don't know, Stockholms. I'd rather the swan spider than the flies, believe me. Around here, no thanks. Oh, Stuart, you poor bastard. Having to watch Mr. Squiggle. There was just something very unnerving about those puppets. Very unnerving. Unplug it. If instantly dies, bad battery. It probably is a bad battery, but I want to at least give it the chance to get to 1%. Give it a chance to live. Just for once. Apparently it's Thursday, 11:04. I'm not going to be able to change the time because I don't know the password to this. Let's see. FaceTime work? FaceTime works. Come on, battery, you can do it. You can be the little battery that does it to 1%. Bluey. I see, yes, there's this cartoon series, Bluey, that's been becoming very popular around the world. I haven't had a chance to watch an episode or anything, but the small snippets I've seen of it, it seems quite good. Looks like my grandparents trying to FaceTime. You know, Lethal One, the scary thing is I actually am old enough to be your grandparent, perhaps. That's kind of scary. Alright, we'll do the battery test. We're getting impatient, so's the audience. It did. Battery is no good. Alright. So we've got a dead battery and a bad cable. It could be worse. Let's do the write-up. Let's put on our Grey's Anatomy face and pretend to be a professional surgeon. And now we do our doctor's handwriting. And we're good. Bottom's not screwed on, you message PP bus if you're a big brand. Why would I want to do that? You've already, it's a dead battery. It already says it's a dead battery and it looks like it's a dead battery. Anyone remember the show, I think it was called, I can't remember, well we all remember Aggro from the Wombat show. Aggro, I'm surprised, lasted as long as he did, given the amount of literal harassment that he did with the audience, not with the audience, with the presenter of the show. Prater, doctor's writing is like Pearl. It's write only, you don't read it back. There was a, in the 80s there was a Australian kids show out in the bush where there were these two camps, and in the one camp it was like koala camp or something like that. They were constantly having to fend off attacks from the other camp where I think it was some developers or whatever wanted to take over their land or something. I can't remember what that was called, but I watched that a lot. Willy Wombat, was it? 10 again? No, I can't remember. Anyway, I think that's the end of the evening for us. Yep, it's 11:30. It's a little early, but I don't think I really want to dive into the last one because I've got a few more that I want to get the paperwork sorted out with first. Otherwise, I'm going to end up losing track of everything. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right. Blinky Bill. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you. That's the one. I remember that. Probably one of my favourite shows as a kid was, what was it? Battle of the Planets. Battle of the Planets. I can still very clearly remember that opening tune with the fiery phoenix and all that sort of stuff. That was good. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you very much for sticking around and entertaining me. Thank you everyone who chipped in and gave a hand with making sure we got these things fixed. It was good to have those snippets of information that saved me running around for several hours and losing my mind. Let's see. Alright, we're going to head out there. So thank you all. You all take care. I might see you tomorrow. You never know. We'll see how it goes. See you later.